everyone, I'm Graham Ledger, and welcome to the Daily Ledger. Our cover story, the big fight against government tyranny in the tiny town of Burns, Oregon. Day 4 in the occupation of a national wildlife refuge is producing more clarity. The group of protesters has picked this time and this place to symbolically push back against the heavy-handed overreach of the federal government. The two ranchers at the center of the conflict are now both in prison, but the message of no more government seizure of private land is far from being locked away.
Because we have allowed our federal government to step outside the bounds of the Constitution, they have come down upon the people and are prosecuting them now directly. They are coming down into the states and taking over the land and the resources, putting the people into duress, putting the people into poverty, and putting entire counties and entire states into undue obedience.
The message that the Bundys are trying to get out there as far as federal and state oversight has some validity to it. And I think they've just taken the wrong tactic and the wrong time and the place. On the other side, the militias come in really bullying, wanting us to jump in and support their cause.
Now, the armed protesters in Burns, Oregon insist they are not backing down. However, federal officials are insisting that there will be no aggressive showdown, at least not right now. So, where is all this headed? And how valid is the point of these protesters? Joining me now from Burns, Oregon, owner and founder of TVOI News, Michael Emery. Michael, I've heard militia being used. I've heard militants being used. I think there are tens of millions of Americans from coast to coast who are watching this who would use the word patriot to describe what's going on in Burns, Oregon. What's your take?
Well, you got to excuse me right now. We're kind of out in the field in a motel room, but I got to say your reporting is very fair, and it is the patriots coming together. I agree that the timing was wrong, but there's a lot of things that people don't understand about the backdrop with the protest that was involved. Over 300 people, a mile-long convoy of cars to protest the overreach of the federal government on private property lands.
Okay, so the Hammonds, the ranchers who are at the center of all this, are in prison now in Southern California. Are the protesters at this point delineating what they're looking for in order to end this standoff? For example, are they looking for the Hammonds to be released from prison? Are they looking for a mea culpa from the federal government? What?
Well, I think it really boils down to the people of this county. That in 1980, they were the most profitable county in Oregon, and now they're the most impoverished. And I've talked to many people locally that are in support of this, but not in support in the way people understand. What has happened is that they wanted to do a redress of grievance to the court system on these findings, not just for the Hammonds, but it's a Hammonds case about overreach of government, charging them for terrorism. It's all about the mineral rights within this land is what this really boils down to. And the BLM holding it off on some preserve, which it was in better shape when the ranchers were taking care of it because it was a marshland and there was far more animals out there.
Okay, so you mentioned this county has gone from riches to rags. Are the people of this county blaming, in part, the federal government? I assume that the state of Oregon probably has something to do with that, but what about the federal government? What are they saying?
Well, the federal government, like everywhere else, is a bureaucracy, and they don't really listen to the demographics of a local community. They don't care if they go in and do what they think they should do for whatever reason. Simple fact of the matter is that the people of Harney County have been persecuted. There's 100 ranches that are no longer in existence in that valley because of the federal government's overreach. And that's what's happening.
Okay, so the sheriff of that county there in Oregon has a message to the protesters, and the message is essentially, hey, would you please go home? He's talking about the burden that this is putting on this county, and he's called in for reinforcements from other parts of Oregon, and I believe he's getting them. The police presence, I'm sure, is a big one there, and I'm sure the media presence there. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that I think the sheriff is missing the point here. Yeah, it's a burden right now, but this is in a moment in time. This is an important message, and this small town is emblematic of ripples across the nation from coast to coast, is it not?
Yes, you are absolutely correct, and I want to thank you for your fair, balanced reporting on this, because you're right. And what is also happening is I'd like to have a message to the sheriff that he's been produced with the redress of grievance with over 100,000 signatures and ignored it, as well as the whole court system. This is a legal process that they have created this situation, not the people of Harney County nor the militia. This is a response of absolute tyranny on these people.
When you talk about tyranny, Mike, the Obama administration, President Obama has set a record for confiscation of private land and nationalizing or federalizing 260 million acres so far in 7 years as President of the United States. I don't see anywhere in the United States Constitution where it says the president or anyone in the federal government has the right to confiscate private property and put it under the rights of the federal government, unless, of course, it's for national security. But I doubt if the 260 million acres that Barack Obama has confiscated have anything to do with national security.
It doesn't. And talk about national security, we find out through Putin, our former enemy, that who is funding and aiding ISIS. I mean, it is insanity all the way through.
So how does this end, Mike? How do you think all this is going to end?
This is not going to end here. It's about people in every county forming their own safety committee of protection and creating their own courts of law, because our court system is subservient to a totalitarian government. That's what we have now. And if the people don't step up, it will turn violent, and I don't want that. That's why these people are here, to try to do a nonviolent occupation. And that's what they're there for. There's people going in and out of there. They're making even breakfast for some of the reporters coming in and out. There's many reports coming live stream on the ground that this isn't what the other mainstreams. Your mainstream is the only one I've heard so far that's getting it right. Well,
this is a pushback, an armed pushback, so be it, because we do have this thing called the Second Amendment, of a massive gobble up of private property rights that's been going on in this country for, well, let's face it, probably centuries now. Mike, keep in touch. Thank you. Coming up next, more classified messages from Hillary's private email server. Also ahead, Rudy rocks San Bernardino.
There are people around the world right now planning to kill us. So we got to all stand together to be ready to help each other.